Hello everyone and welcome to episode 21 of Trapped in My Mind. I'm your host Seth, and today with me, Jill.
Hi everyone.
Jill, thank you for coming on. Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to kind of diving into a few things. One of the main things that I think we can relate very heavily on is our kind of gravitation to music. Would
Absolutely.
You say that that's
100%?
So I'll kind of take it. I think anyone who's following this knows kind of who I like, mainly, and he's also right there. Yeah, there's lots of telltale signs, but why is music so important to you, and who do you look to? I know the answer, but
well, obviously you know the answer. Some people do know the answer. I mean, obviously, from the time I was probably like 13 years old when I first started listening to Mac Miller, I immediately was just like, I mean, it wasn't even his deeper stuff at that point. It was like Knock Knock, and it was Senior Skip Day, and it was Donald Trump, and it was all like the basic songs that he came out with first. And like, I was just drawn to it immediately. And I always, before that, I kind of liked music that was more alternative and more like, at that point, it was like A Day to Remember and like For You're Strong and like everyone like that. And so I was more drawn to those people. So it was weird for me to be like so attracted to an artist at that point. Mm-hmm.
So you like bands more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I typically always like bands, but it was with Mac. It was different because then after like I started listening to him, like he just started evolving into a better artist, like and more like deep into who he wanted to be. Yeah. It seemed like. So when you get into like when he released his first album, like Blue Side Park, and then you get to Macadelic and the mixtapes and like how many deeper like personas he had and like alter egos, and like he literally came out with a jazz mixtape, and like a lot of people don't even know that.
What's it called?
It's Larry Love Scene.
Oh yeah, actually I feel like I did know that very.
It was on SoundCloud. But like with his show and stuff, he just always, I mean, it was the MTV2 show that he had for like 2 years.
He had an MTV show?
Yeah, for like 2 years. It was MTV2.
It was called MTV? No, it was on MTV too?
It was on MTV too.
About what?
It was like Mac Miller and the Most Dope Family, and it was like his first like huge house he bought, and it was like him and all his friends that lived there with him and shit. Okay, that actually could be interesting. I love getting a glimpse into like artists' like personal lives. Again, who knows what they're showing, if it's actually like... Obviously. But I enjoy it. But I will say, I think one thing that if people don't listen to Mac Miller or don't know him very well, I think one thing that might have boosted his recognition was his, what's it called, Tiny Desk performance, because that shit... Yeah. Because I always kind of... After that, like, I listen to that a lot of the time, just, like, it, like, I will put it on as background noise, and then I just get sucked into, like, watching it. Like, I can't, like, Thundercat and him together, too, and, like, their relationship was beautiful, and just, like, seeing Thundercat perform with him, like, what's the use during that Tiny Desk? And obviously, a lot of people know that he didn't get a lot of recognition until after he died. Yeah. But, like, the Tiny Desk, like, helped boost that. Like, it was, like... It was big right when he did it, and then after he passed away, like, it just blew up. Yeah. Like, everyone started watching it, and, like, I watch it very often still. Like, I don't know, it's beautiful. Like, I just love Tiny Desk in general, though, too. I agree. Almost all artists, Tiny Desk gives me, like, more appreciation for them, even if I went in there liking them or not, and I'm waiting for the day Cuddy goes on. But one thing that the Tiny Desk did... he hasn't. Dude, right? It seems like it would be something he would do. Also... Sorry. Oh, you're good.
Oh, wait.
Is it good?
There it is. That's my bad. A bad host. But the Tiny Desk kind of made me realize, or maybe it was discussions from people like you who know more about him, but he does a lot of his own, like he plays his own instruments and mixes and masters and produces his own music, which I've seen how hard that is, and not even scratching the surface of like a professional level. Absolutely. So it's like when somebody can not only, make good music and sing it and write it, but they're also doing all of the percussions and stuff to it, that fucking blows my mind. So, yeah, the Tiny Desk for me was like... No, whoa. Right. Like, when I actually started, like, learning stuff about him, that's what was one of the things that drew me in so much, was, like, he self-taught all of those instruments to himself. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I'm, like, drums, guitar, like, piano, like, all of it. Like, when I saw him at Eastern, he just played the guitar behind his back, and it was just Wonderwall by Oasis, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like... I came to a rap concert, and this is what I'm seeing, but I love that about it. Like, I love that people came just thinking it was going to be a rap show, and then it was him just doing a random Wonderwall song, like just Wonderwall in the middle of it. Joe, I have to say, you're killing right now. You don't have the headphone on. What do you mean? Oh my god, really? Why didn't you say something right when I put it on? I didn't realize it. Oh. It felt like it was. That's my bad.
No, it felt like it was. I'm not kidding.
Well, now you're good, right? Now you got it on. Sorry, I didn't want to go the whole time not.
Well, I mean, you could have said something like 5 minutes.
I didn't realize it.
I'm kidding.
I was so into the conversation, and then I just happened to peer at your ear, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe she doesn't want to have both ears in. But okay. Anyway, so with Mac specifically, because you said you always kind of had a draw to music, right? Mm-hmm. So what about him specifically? Did his lyricism hit you, differently? Did his music come at a time when you needed it?
It was kind of a time when I needed it, but also it had a lot to do with the community that came with it. Okay. So, like, I remember all throughout high school, like, people always thought it was so weird how, like, many internet friends I had and, like, people I would talk to from Twitter and, like, stuff like that. But I was like, I started listening to Mac because I liked his lyrics. I liked when you got deeper past the basic stuff that everyone knew, mm-hmm. that it was so much deeper than people realized. Mm-hmm. And, like, he had this group of people that were with him from the beginning, and he just had them to the very end. And, like, that's what I loved about it. Like, he never changed who he was. Like, it was always... he always just remained true to who he was, and, like, he didn't let labels change him. He didn't let, like, his friends change who he was. Like, he dated the same girl for, like, 12 years. Like...
Was that Ariana?
No, it was the girl he was dating her before Ariana. Okay. So it was Nomi. It was, like, his high school sweetheart. It may not have been... It's probably 12 years is an exaggeration.
Yeah, a long time.
Well, right. It was a very long time. But the community that came with it, like, I remember, like, when Twitter first came out, you just tweet everything. Like, I mean, if we went back on all of our Twitters, we would all be extremely embarrassed.
We'd all be canceled.
Literally.
I think.
So I, like, would tweet about Mac Miller, obviously, and that's when, like, you tweet a hashtag every 2 seconds and stuff, and then, like, you just start getting more followers of people that like the same person as you, and then, like, it just became, like, this huge community where it's, like, I mean, they call them all Macheads, mm-hmm. but it's just... It's all the people that love the same artist as you, and, like, yes, you all could be completely different people, but, like, you just have that connection together, kind of, mm-hmm. and it's, like, deeper than just, oh, I like his music. Yeah. Like, you have a deeper connection, like, with the artist even, so, like, even when I met Mac, like, when I walked up to him, like, he just, like, hugged me, like, immediately, like, was just, like, how are you, like, how are you doing, like, how's your day, just, like, talking to me. And then it was really quick because I think it was, like, when he first started getting really big, and it was at the Fillmore. Mm-hmm. And so they had it, like, super organized. Like, you couldn't have your phones out unless, like, right when you're taking pictures and stuff like that. And so I remember, like, I handed my phone to the guy. Like, we took the picture or whatever. And then afterwards, he said, let me see it. Let me make sure it looks good. And, like, stuff like that. So I'm like, at least he, like, yeah. I'm like, at least he, like, actually cares. Yeah. Like, about, like, he always cared about his fans. Like, he would randomly tweet people back. Like, the first time he tweeted me, I think it was a picture of my hamster. And, like, why? Like, why? Like,
you sent him a picture of your hamster?
I, like, tweeted him a picture of my hamster.
Because, like you said, that's Twitter, and we would just put whatever we wanted on there.
But I think he just said, like, LOL or something, and I'm, like, freaking out because I'm 15.
Dude, that's still me. Like, no. I've had Kid Cudi, actually, I don't think he's ever responded to me, so you got me beat there. But he's retweeted me twice, and he might have fucking responded. I don't know, but actually, it was, like, twice within the last year. Mm-hmm. And I remember being at home, and I was just like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, and, like, no one gave a shit, like, besides me. Yeah, like, I screenshot it, sent to, like, my group chat of, like, buddies. Uh-huh. I told my girlfriend, I'm like, yo, look at all this. Kid Cudi fucking knows me. And meanwhile, he probably just, one of the thousand tweets he had sent to him. But it fucking, like you said, some interaction with your fans does a lot. It goes a long way. It really
does. And it was, like, even more than that, like, because we had multiple fans of, like, or Macheads that, like, they, like, would give letters and, like, things from, like, other fans and, mm-hmm. like, just make sure, like, and he always, like, would post if he read them or saw them or something and, like, would make it known that he, like, actually is paying attention to, like, the gifts that people give him. Yeah. Like, I knew a girl that gave him a bracelet, too, and, like, there's pictures of him wearing it, like, days before he passed away. Yeah. And I'm like, that's insane. Like, it's amazing, but it's just crazy to think that you as a fan, like, your impact does have that. Like, it's just crazy.
It is, but so you said, and I would agree with you, but you said you enjoy not just him and his music, but the community that came with it, because that is strong when you have people mm-hmm. that connect to something that you like so much on a different level than just, musically. You've actually met, like, and started hanging out with lots of these different people, right? You mm-hmm. went, correct me if I'm wrong, but you went to Blue Slide Park, which is in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so that was... When he died in September, that in November, like, a couple of my friends put together a home memorial. And so, like, there was a bunch of them, obviously, that just happened, like, days after he passed, like, at Blue Slide Park mm-hmm. and everything. It's in Pittsburgh. And my friends put this together. And so people from other countries, other states, everything. All these people came to like just be together for that day. So I stayed in a house with 10 other girls that I met from Twitter that I had never met in person, besides one of them, I think.
Up until then?
Mm-hmm. Oh. And like it was just people I had known for like 8 years, just online, and like finally meeting them in person. And it's terrible that it was for that reason.
Yeah.
But like it was, like we cried at Blue Side Park and stuff, but I'm like, when we were together, like just hanging out, like drinking or like doing whatever, like we all were just like, there was never an awkward point.
Yeah.
Like you would never, like you would think there would be, like you never met each other, like you only like talked to each other through text or like FaceTime, but like we all just like connected immediately, and I loved that about it. And I went to Pittsburgh that November. Then I went, I think the following September. For his memorial, and then that February or January, I went back.
A couple different times.
Yeah, so it would have happened this past year, but COVID.
Yeah, but there's a lot, and on this podcast, there's been a lot of talk about like shitty things about social media, but to your point, that's like one good thing that could come from it is you had such a deep connection with people you didn't know, and then you were able to go on vacation with them, and it was like they were already like your best friends, right?
Right, yeah. Like, and there's people, like some of them have come visit me and stayed with me before. Like, one of them helped me move into my new apartment. Like, people don't like think of like your internet friends as like your real friends. And like, some of them are better friends than like my friends I have in town. Yeah. Like, it is just the connection you have like through that. But like, it's because I've known some of them since I was 15. Like, part of it I think is them not, or maybe both of you not like seeing each other in person to watch you grow up. So you don't see the bad, like the good and the bad. Like, you pretty much only hear about the good because you're just like talking to your friends.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I think honestly, as lame as this sounds, a group, when you have like a group of fans, really like Macheads or like Cud Fam, people who are like almost like a cult following of these artists. Not as only friends, but it's almost like it's like a community. Like no,
it's a family, honestly.
Who all have like deep rooted connections. So it's like no matter what you've gone through, your feelings are very similar to what you take away from his music. And I think that's one thing that like is so cool.
No, it really is. I love it so much. That's like when the day he passed away. I remember like 30 people texted me, like random people that I hadn't talked to in years. Like, some people were just like, you introduced me to his music, so, like, I'm so sorry, like, all this stuff, and just, like, it really was only that group chat of people that could, like, help comfort. Yeah. And, like, it sounds like, I mean, some people even don't understand why we're that emotionally invested in an artist, but, like, I have, 7 tattoos for him? Like, of course I'm emotionally invested.
Yeah, I get it. I fanboy hard, so...
Yeah. We both do.
That's a question I was gonna ask. Is like it's like a live audience. Like,
I know. We have. Well, I'm just looking at them. We are a problem.
So if you care to answer, how was his death? Like I mean, because I can't even imagine. Because like even though I don't know Kid Cudi personally, even if he like tweets out a sad like something about like when he told himself like or when he told everybody he's checking himself in to rehab for suicidal urges, like I fucking remember being like really worked up about that because it's somebody I care so much about. So how was that?
So I will never forget it because that day, so like days before that, I was actually talking to 2 of my friends about buying like the meet and greets and like the tickets for the show, and
because he was coming here.
Yeah, he was like he's like it was I think days before his tour or like a month, not even a month. I think it was less than a month. But I just remember like talking about buying the tickets and everything, and then I have a little rose tattoo behind my ear, and I went and got that tattooed on me, came home, was getting ready for hanging out with one of my friends, and my sister texted me, and she was like, "Did you see Twitter?" And I was like, "No, why?" And she just sent me a screenshot, I think, of like someone saying that Mac died, and I was like in the process like getting ready, like half my hair was curled or something, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I remember I was in my bathroom and I just like put both my hands in my counter and I just started bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like at that time in my life too, like it was a very emotionally stressful time in my life. I was very emotionally vulnerable, yet wanting to just be that person that didn't want to have emotions. And like I hadn't even been listening to him that much at that point. Like I was like just taking like everything was so weird in my life at that point that like I probably hadn't listened to him in like a month. Yeah. Or something like that, and like didn't think about it, and then I saw that and I just started like crying, and like my friend was already on her way over with her other friend, like, and I was just like, I had to hang out with them, and I was just crying all night.
Yeah.
I was drinking. I think at one point I was holding the bottle of wine and crying, and I'm like, this is not okay. Like,
can you listen to them now and not like?
Yeah, there's certain songs like the song 2009 from Swimming. That I don't listen to that.
Unless you're already in a sad
unless
mood.
I'm listening to Tiny Desk, which I don't skip it because that's a great performance. Yeah. I just don't. I avoid that song. Other than that, like most songs don't really get to me that bad. Besides that, and probably So It Goes. It's the last song on the Swimming album because it was the night he passed away. His last story on his Instagram was him like it was a record player just playing So It Goes. So like his last story was the last song on his last album.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that whole. I mean, I only scratched the surface of research of probably that you've done on his life or on his struggles with a drug addiction. So
absolutely.
But that is fucking and honestly, I will say I wasn't a huge fan of him, and I was a fan, but like I'm not the type of person to say I was a big fan of him and then. But okay, what I'm trying to say is his death did kind of amplify my my attention to him, which is unfortunate. But I will say I'm glad that I started listening more because he is very good, and that last album, knowing kind of the shit he battled, made that album that much better. Yeah, because it's like, dude, he's telling you right up front his struggles, but like because it sounds so good, some people don't get it that he has those struggles, and then some people like who connect to it deeper are like, fuck, dude.
No, like and he talks about it like from day one, and people didn't even realize like it's when he started doing when he released his album, like his first album, like Blue Set Park and stuff, and then he made the Macheads mixtape, and then he started getting into like all his alter egos. Like Macheads was like the peak of him starting to do like hard drugs. So it was like in like one of his music videos, I think it's even him just drinking lean in the music video and shit. And I'm just, it's that once that mixtape came out, like obviously everyone knew, but like you didn't like think about it. Like I think I was like 16 when that came out, so I was like, oh whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just drugs, I guess. I don't know. Well, and then like it got to the point where like Faces came out, and not a lot of people know Faces, but Faces is, I mean, I love Faces, but that was literally like he was just like that is his most beautiful mixtape because it did show every single problem he had. Like he put everything out there for everyone to see, and like he didn't hide anything, and that's what I love about him. Like it was never like he was never that person to lie and like come out with like random like scandals and stuff. And I feel like the most scandalous part of his life was about Ariana Grande. Yeah. Honestly.
Well, yeah. When you're involved with her, how can it not be a little bit? But that, I mean, that is insane. Was Faces, if you know, was it a popular album for him or was it not?
It was
mixtape.
It's a lot of Macheads like favorite albums, like number ones. Okay. But it definitely didn't get as much recognition as it should have probably, but that's also how a lot of SoundCloud things are, because a lot of people don't even know what SoundCloud is. Yeah. If you think about it. Like, people do that, started out with MySpace and everything, because you still use SoundCloud for random stuff, and then it just kind of progressed. But it's just, I don't know, like when it's only DatPiff or SoundCloud or something, like a lot of people don't like realize you can just download like stuff like that on your computer and like onto your phone. Yeah. But
well, the reason I asked is because if Faces was kind of Mac's window into his personal struggles and battles, I was wondering if it did well or not, because Cudi's hit the album that nobody fucking liked. In fact, he lost probably most of his fans, not his true fans, but fans after Speeding Bullet to Heaven, because sonically it was just completely different than anything he's put out before. It literally was a suicide note. That was after, or that was around the time he checked himself in, and I mean, if you listen to the songs, does it sound as good as Man on the Moon 1 or 2? No. Yeah. But listen to what he's saying, and it's like, dude, vulnerability is respectable. So like, and he's fucking laying out all of his cards. So
no, I'd rather have the artist I'm interested in be like vulnerable rather than hide everything. Like I would rather have them show all of their emotions than me be wondering. Like I don't know. Like it sounds stupid to like talk about like that, but it's like, and guess we didn't know them personally, but like there will always still be that connection from like artist to fan. Like no matter what, no matter whether you're in music, like regular, like actual art, like whatever it is, like there's always just the fact that you are that attracted to something that they're creating. Like that has like of course it's a connection.
Yeah, and I think vulnerability is something that at least I think most people, I would say, enjoy in not just artists, but in other people. Like when someone's telling a story about maybe something they didn't do very well and they're learning from it, everyone else is like, oh shit, that's fucking brave of them for doing that. And they're speaking up, and now we can learn from what they did, or maybe I relate to what they did. So vulnerability in any capacity is something I respect, and it's very hard to do.
No, it is.
So question, and I'm gonna butcher this because I don't know how to pronounce it, or I don't think I do. Do you know what a posthumous album is? Like when someone says, so it comes out after their death. What do you think about that? Because I've seen two different takes.
So with Circles, he recorded all of the lyrics. Obviously before he passed away, and then like he was already working on some of the sounds, like with I can't remember his name, the guy, it was like some guy he wanted to work with for a really long time, and he finally got to work with him, and so they were working on it when he passed away, and it was all supposed to be like swimming in circles. Like, that was the whole thing, like it was supposed to be like a whole project together, and obviously it got interrupted, but I'm glad I'm honestly personally glad they still put it out. Like there's even some Macheads, and like I see like that got angry about it or something, and even once I listened to it, like they were like, this is beautiful. Like Swimming is a phenomenal album, but Circles is beautiful. Like it really is. Like every single song on that album, like I love, like unconditionally. Like that has become my number one favorite album by him.
Okay.
And I can't and it's insane that the album that came out after his death is that, but like he was finally becoming like the artist that he wanted to be that whole time, and you could see it. Like even if you listen to even like one song from each project he's made, like you can hear the progression, and like even just him being more comfortable. Yeah.
Well, I think another thing that he does, and again I'm going to compare him to Cudi because I think they both do it. Is each album they're not afraid to be themselves in the sounds that they put out. So each album's very similar because they have characteristics that are true to themselves, but then they're also very different because they experiment with different sounds, like a jazz album or a hard grunge album. Like they have different things that they do, that they try to do, and I think that pushing the boundaries on that is awesome. Yeah. And I think if a Posthumous album, which again, just to level set, if anyone that doesn't know, that's an album that it's a body of work that comes out from the artist after they've died, so usually it's from like their producer or something like that. And the two takes I see usually, and I would agree with, and I don't know where I stand either, is you're either pissed because it wasn't finished, the artist wouldn't have wanted it put out non-finished, or you finished it up in your way but it wasn't the artist's way, so you're kind of fucking with your creativity. However, the fan is like, oh, I want more music from you, so it's like...
But I do think you have to get the person, obviously if they're a good person, and if they're terrible, but you have to give them the benefit of the doubt that like they were working closely together and knew what he wanted from the album. So obviously you have to give him the benefit of the doubt that like he knew, obviously not exactly, but he knew an idea of what Mac wanted it to be.
Yeah, well, and that one was almost already done. Like Circles was almost, the conception was already, it's already like 90% finished, right? I think it's, the problem I have is like, let's say Kid Cudi died, which I fucking hope doesn't happen for a long time. If people just started putting out like scraps of album, like they did this with X. Like any fucking, like he could have like a 10-second like audio clip and they throw it on something. It's like, okay, do you think that was, he scrapped that for a reason? A project like Circles that was pretty much done, I would think I would be in your boat. Put it out because it was almost there, and I think he would have wanted it, his fans would have wanted it, the person who's putting it out thinks it's a good idea, cool. But if like you take samples and scraps, just try to make money off of it because you know it's a hot topic, that's the shit I
mean, the bad stuff that I have heard is only from like Warner Brothers, like keeping stuff from people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they apparently, like there's been two artists that I've heard of, one being Max DJ and then one being one of his close friends, who have wanted to release like things they had like featuring Mac or something after he passed away, and they wouldn't let him because they like own like all of it now. I'm like, it's crazy. Like and like these people like knew his family like their entire lives and stuff. And I'm like, it's sad to think that that's a thing. Like, cause they can get sued if they do it and like stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know.
It is fucked up. Like if I was a musician, I passed on, I would want like my brothers or my parents or like my best friend or my producer to be able to make the decision of, do we put out this music or whatever. Yeah. Not some fucking company who does not give a shit about me.
Exactly.
Or know anything about me.
Who's just making all his money.
Yeah.
Still making money. Yeah. Still making a lot of money, actually.
Well, actually make more money probably once you die because more people are interested. Which is also fucked up as a human species that we get more interested in people after they die, which I'm guilty of it, so I'm not...
I mean, I think it's happened to everyone.
Yeah.
And any, like, no matter who it is. Like, I mean, think about when Michael Jackson died. People were freaking out. Yeah. And random, like, 12-year-olds started, like, listening to Michael Jackson.
Well, even not just celebrities, but, like...
Oh, yeah. No,
how many times have you had somebody from, like, your city, or, like, not even your city, but, like, the area dies, and, like, you might not even have known them, or even if you did a little bit, you're like, oh...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I knew him. It's like, no, you didn't.
Absolutely.
Like, it happens all the time.
I know, that's what I always say to my sister. I'm like, you better not any fake bitches come into my funeral and act like they were my friend, because they're not. Like, no, I don't want any of that.
But it happens.
It happens no matter what. And, like, I think we all definitely are guilty of it at some point. I just definitely don't like the people that act like the best friend one.
Oh, yeah. Like, if someone dies, it's like, like, that was my best friend. I'm really hurt. It's like, listen, I understand we all have our own feelings about it, but don't act like you were so close with this person.
Exactly.
That shit's annoying. But, so to pivot a different direction, if you will, so going back to, like, Twitter and social media, I would say, I'm not on Twitter as much anymore, but I know for a while when I was, you were one to put out your thoughts on there, which I respect because, again, you're showing your thoughts. I would also say you seem to be strongly opinionated on lots of things. So, I guess one kind of topic we could go into, I feel like you're like giving me a look like,
well,
don't fucking do this.
I'm just waiting. I want to know what it is. I'm curious.
Well, I don't know exactly which way I want to go with it. I will say, so one time on this podcast, it was episode 3, it was another male guest. We were talking about, like, cancel culture, specifically around Chris D'Elia, which is a comedian who was accused of, like, sexual harassment but never found guilty. No one ever like, and I can recognize how 2 men talking about that might come off as insensitive or just lack of knowledge. So I guess on topics like cancel culture, when it's, somebody makes an accusation but there's no proof, or maybe multiple people make accusations and it looks really bad but there's no proof, what's your opinion on that? If I framed that up correctly, I can try to...
No, yeah, I'm just trying to think... Now I'm trying to think the right way to get it out.
Okay.
No, it's very hard for me when there's... It's hard to put it into words, and, like, it's very hard to, like, get it out. It's hard, like... Obviously, I want to trust everyone with what they say. If you are saying that someone sexually harassed you or molested you or whatever it may be, to the extent to whatever... Like, I want to trust that no matter what. But with cancel culture, it is crazy right now. Like, they have had people that lie and just make it up. And then they have had hundreds of girls come out for Jeffrey Epstein and say that, like, all of that. And, like, it's so heartbreaking to see that, like, because people can say all they want, like, oh, yeah, you could have gone to the cops. Yeah. I'm like, you have no idea what trauma is happening in your mind after that. Like, you could have just been dumped behind a dumpster like Brock Turner.
Yeah, well, and trying to accuse or trying somebody to be guilty on, like, sexual harassment is one of the hardest things to, like, find guilty. So it's like, even if I did go to the cops, who's to say that it's ever going to work out for me at all?
Exactly, because some people don't even get taken seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it's I think definitely it's people not taking it more seriously in younger years, like high school, college, like, stuff like that, because I think most people, when they say, like, oh, like, they came on to me too strong, or, like, they did this, or, like, even things that you don't think of, like, as even rape or something, like, there's something, like, doing something that makes you uncomfortable, and you don't think about that as harassment because as a kid, because you're just like, oh, like, just whatever, it's annoying, but, like, there's so many times I feel like even watching, like, just shows like 13 Reasons Why and stuff, where you see it, like, where you did notice in college, and, like, in high school even, where, like, boys did things to girls that, like, they should not have done ever, like, even just, like, random people that touch girls' butts and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, when we're all younger, we're just like, like, whatever. Dude,
for real. That's a good example. Because, like, that shit happened, and it's so fucking weird. Like,
I remember walking for senior spring break in Panama City Beach, and some guy just smacking my ass.
Remember, and I was like, bean dips?
Yeah.
Scoops?
Yeah.
Which is...
Like, why? Like, and, like, no one, like, even girls, like, no one really said anything. And then that one girl that did say something, everyone's like, oh, fuck
bitch.
Her. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's
and I'm like, when you think about it as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, if someone came up to me and did that, I'd punch him in the face. I'm like, get out of my face. Like, no.
Well, it's also just fucking weird.
Right.
Like, but so, I mean, this could be a conversation that lasts a long time, because there's lots of different things I kind of want to just pick your brain about. So, I would agree. It is, in a perfect world, any accusation you would, yes, you're right. Because why would you make this up, right?
Well, you wouldn't want to ever think someone would lie about that. Like,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, and again, so this is my opinion. I recognize that because I'm a man, I'm probably more prone to this opinion. It's a little concerning how quick we are to cancel people now, because literally somebody could make an accusation that's completely false just out of spite, and then what? No. Basically, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
And that's what I was trying to like think about, like when I was trying to like say something, because I'm like, it's hard because, well, one, you don't want to say the wrong thing, or you don't want to. It's so many people do just say shit when they're breaking up with like someone's breaking up with them. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, like fuck you, I'm gonna say you hit me one time. Yeah. Like, no, like that's not something you ever fuck around about. And like, I do think it's definitely more common with women that they will lie about that or make something up or fabricate it to a extent. But like, it's not, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying that when it comes to the cancel culture, like there have been women that have been canceled too. Like it's not just men. And like, it's a lot of the more time it's the women that like, they'll have to come out then and it's embarrassing for them even to come out and say like, oh, that's not true. Like I made that up, or like I said it out of spite, or like whatever it may be. Like it's embarrassing for them, let alone the person who got accused too.
I know. But at the same time, I feel like
the Chris Lee stuff, like do we even know what happened? I don't know.
I know, but then people always be like, well, there's a lot of people who came out. It's like, yeah, but there's a lot of shitty people who would make stuff up. But I almost like, although that's my opinion, I almost hate that it's my opinion, because I wish I could, because so all I'm doing right now when I say that that's my opinion is basically I'm thinking of what would happen if that happened to me, right?
Yeah.
But when I'm doing that, I'm ignoring the fact that, okay, for all the people that this did happen to, I'm basically saying it's worse if you get falsely accused than it is if you get actually harassed, which is fucked up. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense at all?
I can never imagine being in that position. Like, I am very grateful to this day that I have never been, like, harassed or sexually harassed in any way. Like, thank God, but... Like, I have had friends it's happened to. I've had friends I've had to console that it's happened to. Like, it is heartbreaking to be told that it takes on someone. Like, whether it's verbal abuse, physical abuse, just sexual harassment, like, whatever it is. Like, it's not just anything. Like, it changes you forever. Whether you think it doesn't or does. Like, it does. Like, I've never been physically abused, but we've all been verbally abused at some point in our lives. By
friends, relationships, like...
Yes, anyone.
Yeah.
And you don't I think even when it's happening, you don't think about it like that. Like when someone's yelling at you and saying all these things that are wrong about you, and you're like not thinking about it, and then 2 years later you're like, I just let someone tell me everything I should change about myself. Yeah. Like, that's fucked up. Like I just let someone try to make me into this little person that they wanted me to be.
Yeah. Well,
that's how a lot of abuse things are too.
Well, that's the thing too, is like what's the fucking, I cannot think of the word. I'll use gaslighting, but that's not the word I'm trying to think of. But, like, if I keep putting you down, I keep saying these things, maybe eventually you'll learn that they're not true. But, like, that's a type of abuse, too, because it's like you're planting the seed in my head of something that I'm not. Yeah. Because, it you want me to fit some mold or some image. And I'm losing my train of thought. But it's still kind of there. I've done this. And I don't do it on purpose, right? Where, like, you do these things with good intentions, and what it does is you're trying to sculpt somebody to be something that fits what you want, but not who they are or what they want, and that never ends well.
I mean, I think most people that have been in relationships have dated someone that they've even noticed little things about them, like the person that they want to change, or like little things like I wish they did, or like I wish you just did this more.
Yeah,
and like little stuff like that, and like. Obviously, in relationships, there's going to be little things that people do wrong, and you're going to discuss it, and then you're going to work on it together, and, like, that's different. Of course, like, we all do that. Like, we respect that. Like, we both do that in our relationships, probably. But the people that, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like...
It is hard.
It's hard, like, when I could think of it, like, 20 minutes ago if you asked me, but now I can't.
Well, especially you see the fucking timer, like, fuck, I gotta be quick.
No, it's just... I don't know. No, now you're going to lose my train of thought.
Yeah, well...
Now you're going to do this to me.
It is fucking, it's a thing that I wish didn't happen, but it does. So point being, that's also a type of abuse that's not, there's like abuse that like obviously people do intentionally and it's fucked up, and then there's like shit that people don't know that they're doing, but cancel culture still treats it as if it's intentional. And I'm not saying like rape or something like that. Like that's, if that happens.
Obviously intentional.
I mean, see ya. But like some of the small things, like you can literally, for example, something that you or I may have put on like Twitter a few, like back when we were like 13 could get us canceled. It's like,
okay, that stuff I have a little different opinion about, because like that, no, not different from yours. I'm saying different from like cancel culture and everything, because like if I tweet something when I was 12 years old, I'm not that same fucking person.
Oh no, I think
like, I am. Yeah. I don't know what I tweeted, but it was probably some questionable things. And like if you wanted like I just can't imagine that some people have the time in their life to look back on someone's life that far and just like, let me find something you tweeted in 2008.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I'm like, why? Like, who hurt you? Like, that bad? Like,
well, and why do you want to hurt me? Lots of times there's people you don't even know that are like trying to find these things.
I think it's funny when it's like, I can't think of like an example, but like a random celebrity that like didn't do anything wrong and you're just like, let's fuck their lives up.
Yeah. It blows my mind. But I mean, I think cancel culture really stunts our ability to learn, because if you cancel me for something I did 10 years ago, like you said, I'm completely different. And also, maybe I didn't realize, maybe I still don't realize what I did was wrong, but if you just fucking cancel me without, like...
How are you going to learn from it?
Yeah. I mean, you cancel culture eliminates all dialogue.
I've said it since day one, I hate bullies, and like I just think that a lot of the time when it comes to little stuff like that, where it's like tweet or like a random picture or post or like something from... I don't want to... Like, obviously now if it's like 2 years ago, like that's a little recent. But like if it was like 10 years ago and you're going to pull something up of me, like that's... Why are you attacking me for something? Like, what if I never did anything to you? Yeah,
but that's another question. Yeah. So, who determines how old something has to be for it to not be like... Right. Because, like, I could say something...
I don't know.
Like, I could say something 2 weeks ago that might have been very, you know...
We could have been angry, or you could have
bad
been
taste, right? But then maybe you heard it and we had a conversation, and now you said something that completely fucking changed my mind. So, I wouldn't say that and I don't believe what I said 2 weeks ago, right? Because now my whole belief of that is completely changed, but of course now I can get canceled for it. So it's like, I don't know.
I wish everyone was more open to letting people learn from their mistakes. Obviously, we're getting away from sexual harassment, all of that. There's no learning from that. You suck. Leave. But when it comes to like even just bullying each other, when it comes to talking like people down, or when it just comes to not knowing how to communicate well, like it's sad to think about how we as so many people are so quick to like just make fun of someone that we don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I wish we were more open to learning from our mistakes. And a lot of people, even if if you tell them they messed up, they'll get more defensive than anything. So it's hard. Like if you are saying that cancel culture should be more open to letting people learn from their mistakes, but they're going to get super defensive when they do confront them about that mistake. So you kind of can't win.
Yeah.
Just both.
No, that's a good point. We have to be better at giving people time to make their learnings, like to go through their learnings, but at the same time, these people who are messing up, which is everyone, we all mess up, have to be better about taking feedback and listening to what the issue is, because it is very easy to just get offensive and say no. No, I wasn't trying to say that, or you twisted my words.
And defensive usually makes you seem more guilty anyway.
Yeah, and you just, most of the time, you seem like an ass. And I mean, I have that problem. I think a lot of people have that problem, but, you know, trying to...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like if someone, like, I don't know, when someone comes up to you with, like, some ridiculous accusation, you're like, no, what the fuck? Like, I didn't do that. Yeah. And then, like, you're like, oh, shit. Like,
that's the thing, though. It's like, you're almost damned if you do. Like, if you stick up for yourself, it's like, oh, well, he looks more guilty. But if you don't say anything, it's like, all right, well, then he is guilty. So it's like, fuck. What are you supposed to say?
I just can't win.
Yeah. But, okay, so going back to... sexual harassment, because I think that's another thing that, and again, if I say something that sounds stupid, educate me, you or anybody who's listening. But I feel like how that's defined is also changed, or maybe I've just learned more about it. But like I was doing a training, I don't know if it was for work, if it was just something I stumbled upon, or what it was, but it was basically, or actually it might have been for school. It was like defining what is sexual harassment, right? And obviously there's lots of, you know, it's black and white, you know what the fuck it is. But then there's some things that's like, if you and I went out on a date and, you know, our intentions were, we're trying to get a relationship going, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a first date, second date, third date, whatever. And if we drink, we shouldn't hook up. That's sexual harassment. And it falls, from what I was reading, again, I don't remember it specifically, the responsibility there is with the guy. Because it's like, you shouldn't drink and you shouldn't have sex when you're drinking or hook up when you're drinking because that's not in your, conscious mind.
Well, we all do know that men can be raped too. Like, men can be sexually harassed as equally as women can.
Yeah.
But obviously we know it's more common that women get harassed. Yeah. So I feel like the drinking, like, part, or, like, knowing that, like, you shouldn't take someone home if you know they're drunk, or, like, you should, like, all that shit. And, like, some people hide their drunks very fucking well too. And, like, shit like that. And, like, I think everyone's hooked up with someone when they were highly intoxicated and then after been like, shit, probably shouldn't have done that. But, like, we've all done that. Obviously, there's times where the girl's highly intoxicated and, like, obviously they should not be, that's taking advantage. Like, there's a very fine line.
And that's the thing, how do you define it? How do you define it, right?
Like, and part of that has to do with the people that they're around. Like, if they are around anyone. Like, if you're at a party and, like, we have all probably seen a couple that the girl's highly too fucked up and the guy, like, her just go in the room and you're like, that's not probably not a good idea. But, like, we've all seen it in different occurrences and it's sad, but...
Yeah, and that's again where it's, like, it's so tricky because, like, for example, if a guy and a girl went out on a date and the guy is not drunk at all and the girl is... Then I think there's like
that's different.
There's like there's a heavy undertone of sexual harassment because it's like he knows what he's doing and he knows that she's not in the mood. However, if they're both drinking but she's more drunk than him, how much more drunk? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they could both be drunk and at that point, is it sexual harassment? But if like, it's just
it just has to be consent. Like, at that point, like, it's how do you get past, like, two consenting adults together? Like, you can't really. Like, I used to know a girl who she said that someone took advantage of them, but I was with all of them that night when, like, we were all hanging out and, like, saw them start hooking up, and I'm like, I didn't see that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, it's hard, like, because you can say that if you were embarrassed of it, and maybe you didn't want to hook up with that person.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's people that will lie to their grave about who they had sex with. Mm-hmm. For what?
Dude, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is, like, you can't make, like, a one, like, straightforward line for... Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think so, because, again, let's say there's a guy... Well, it doesn't matter. Guy and a guy, girl and a guy, whatever. But, like you said, people can fake their drunks. So, let's say, after a night of drinking, the girl says, okay, I think I was too drunk. Like, you should know what you're doing. Even if that's true, the guy could be like, no, I was fucked up too. Like, we were both fucked up. So it's like, then it's like, he said, she said. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that, like, is, like, I feel like in this day and age, so, okay. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but I'll try it. I'm going through the awkwardness. Another thing too is, like, in that training, it was like, before doing anything, you must say, like, you should ask, hey, would you like to have sex? Would you like very bluntly? Mm-hmm. But then when you ask, like, these, like, I have several friends who are girls, or I've asked my girlfriend, like, if you're dating, like, if you're going on a date with somebody, and, like, they're like, you're getting into the mood, right? And then they go, hey, can we have sex? That's gonna, I don't want to speak for you, but that might take you out of the mood. So it's like, but if you don't ask, then you're not getting consent. So it's like, there's so many different factors to it.
You just kind of have to read the room, and some people don't know how to read the room.
See, but read the room is not in these classes of, like...
Well, exactly. And I feel like not obvious. Most people, at least, if you're hooking up with someone, you can tell if they're into it, or hopefully you can. I mean, I would hope so. But it's just, there's going to be some times where, like, I just can't think of what I'm trying to get out. Now I'm, like, keep losing my train of thought.
Dude, I already sounded the most fucking awkward in, like, the last couple minutes, so you could literally say nothing and it's not as bad.
I know, I just can't remember what I was trying to say. That's what happens when I get up too early every day.
Yeah, I mean, so what I was saying was, like, if, you're in the mood and somebody says some, like, really, like, bullshit. You said it's reading signs, but...
Okay, yeah. If someone literally stopped me in the middle of, like, us hooking up, though, and asked me that, I would probably just burst out laughing. And I can't lie about that because like it would be awkward as shit.
Okay, but again.
But you have to respect it. But you have to respect it because they're respecting your boundaries. But also, I don't know, I would laugh.
Yeah.
I would.
See, and then that as a guy, if I did that, it would like demoralize me. I'd be like, oh well, I'm a bitch now. Like, okay, well I'll just leave. I'll leave. You want to cuddle? Like it'd just be like.
You want to? Will you cuddle me?
It's like it's just exactly. I'll be baby spoon. Like, or like, what if somebody thinks like they're reading the situation and like you're down.
Yeah.
And then they don't ask. Like you said, sometimes read the room, and often. And what if someone is like not comfortable saying no? So it's like, I thought I read the room. I thought it was good, and she never said anything. And then the next day, it wasn't. And here to find out, she thinks I like harassed her, and I genuinely didn't think I did.
Yeah.
So it's like those situations too. I wanted to get a female's perspective on it.
No, absolutely. It's very hard to give a perspective, especially when I haven't experienced it.
Fair.
But having people in my life that have, and like knowing people on like on a personal level that like have gone through that trauma, like it's repulsive and disgusting, and I don't like thinking about anyone ever lying about that because that's fucked up. Like I just don't understand why anyone ever would do that, but it's hard for me to like give my point of view when I haven't actually experienced it. Like I'm trying, like it's hard. It really is, because like I can't ever put myself in those shoes. Like I could never imagine that.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's
and
fair.
Like I've been bullied, I've been verbally abused, like I can give, like I know that, but like when it comes to physical, like it is. And I don't want to discredit verbal abuse because it is traumatic, but like physical, it's at a deeper level. And same with sexual harassment and all of it. Like with your body, like that's your body.
Yeah.
Like it's
sacred to you.
Yeah. Like, and someone violating that, like I can't imagine. Like that would fuck me up forever.
Well, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how fucking mad. Like, and I'm not trying to like put myself on a pedestal, but like, how does that go through someone's mind? But again, it's probably some shit that they've gone through that's conditioned them that way.
I've never been fighting with my boyfriend and been fighting with him like, I'm gonna hit you right now.
Yeah.
I've never, what?
Seriously.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah,
like,
or have you ever felt like you were gonna get hit?
No. Like.
Yeah, but it happens, so it's.
Well, right.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I mean, most girls have encountered creepy men like on the streets, but that's different.
Well, yeah, I think most men have been creepy, like with their cat calls, thinking that it's like they'll like to hear that. Cat call like a
whole different thing.
Yeah, so okay, we can go.
That's just, no, that's just creepy.
It is.
I just don't understand why anyone in their right mind would be driving
like that,
or be driving anywhere and they just yell something at you and like wave, and I'm like, what do you think this is gonna end with?
That's the thing. Like, what do you think?
Like, you didn't even stop driving either. So like, what?
Yeah.
You just. Let me just make it known to her that I think she's hot.
Well, I'll tell you a guy's perspective, and I guess I can't speak for all guys, but, you know, in my younger days, high school, you might drive around, see somebody from school, like, give a cat call. I'm not proud of it. I wouldn't do it now. But to me, it's kind of like, well, it was kind of like, they'll feel good because I'm giving them attention, and, like, which sounds so fucking narcissistic now, because it's like, who cares? They probably didn't even want my attention.
Because people don't ever think about... Oh my god, I can't think of the word. A compliment. Jesus, I couldn't remember what compliment. People never think about compliments being like something personal about you. They always think of it being physical, like something a physical like thing about someone. Like, oh, I like your hair, or like you like you're just hot in general. Like people will think that'll make you feel better about yourself, but sometimes people will. Like even you saying like you appreciate my love for music and like you like that we have that connection, but like. I appreciate that compliment more than a physical compliment. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%. And Megan, I believe it was Megan Troost on my podcast. It might have been someone else, but I think it was her, said the same thing. If we started giving compliments based off of, you know, like characteristics, not physical characteristics, but like things that you notice about somebody, things that they do, traits, or how they interact, that means a whole lot more. And it really does. It's like, why don't we do that? So it's like, but like, you know, this is kind of like a joke, but you can't do a cat call like, you have a great laugh.
Absolutely. But why do it in the first place?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's the whole point of it, though.
That's
like,
the maturity, though.
Well, yes, but I've also seen grown-ass men do it that are fucking 55, and I'm like, you're older than me. That's even more creepy. You're like my dad.
That's even more creepy.
like stop, like no. And like half the time it's when I'm in like sweatpants or like I'm just like hair's top my head and I'm like, this isn't even a good time. Like I'm not even in an outfit where I'm like, oh, I might get something called at me.
Oh yeah. Well, so living in Detroit, do you feel like when you go? I feel like when I'm out in Detroit, like I'm thinking Greektown, right? Mm-hmm. You have a whole diverse group of people. Mm-hmm. I have witnessed so many fucking catcalls. Is there ever like a certain place where you go, you're like, I'm gonna get catcalled?
No, I think you can see the scenario that's going to happen when you walk into Greektown, you see that street and you see all these people and all these cars and you're like, yeah, this is going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know when it is.
But the worst part about that, though, is they're not in cars most of the time. You're just walking by.
That's like, dude, it's the worst. Like if like someone's walking the same direction as you. Because I've literally been like in a group. So let's say I'm like up here and then like there's people I don't know, like ladies behind me. And then there's like another group of like guys and they say some shit and like they just keep walking. It's like, all right, I feel uncomfortable, and I'm not the one saying it, and I'm not the one it's being said to. I'm just a third party. Yep. And this shit is so uncomfortable.
No, it is. It makes everyone around them uncomfortable. Like, I feel like most people that I've ever seen, I don't even know uncomfortable people come up to me in public and just compliment me, like, nicely. I'm always like, I don't know how to take compliments. Like, don't do it.
Yeah, they are weird, especially from strangers. It's like, no, yeah. Thank you.
And as, like, a bartender, like, it happens.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, today, guy was like, what's your name? And I was like, Jill. He was like, cute. I was like, yeah. Okay. I was like, I really smiled, but I have a mask on, so I can't even see my awkward smile. I was like, you want a Bud Light? Like, I don't know what to do.
Do you as a bartender, do you ever have anybody, like, spilling their heart out to you? Like, not, like, for you, but, like, oh, it's been a fucking rough day.
People definitely use bartender as a therapist sometimes. But that's kind of, I don't want this to sound mean, but it's kind of the entertaining part of the job sometimes. Because 9 times out of 10, they've been drinking there for 2 hours, and you got them hammered, and then they trust you. Yeah. Dude. And, like, honestly, there's been times where I'm, like, deep into conversation and I actually end up loving the person. And I'm like, you're great. Like, I'd actually love to hang out with you. Yeah. But it's closing time. Yeah, literally. But there's been times where, like, you get that person way too hammered and they end up just sobbing at your bar rail. Yeah. And, like, I've had it happen with girls before. Like, I've paid girls tabs, like, because they're crying because of breakups at my bar. And I'm like, just, you gotta go home. Like, go home. Like, you can't cry at a bar. Like, that's more embarrassing than the breakup. Yeah. And, like, we all know that. And, like, I've cried in public before, too. But.
Yeah. The bartending, so I never bartended, but I was a bar back for a while. And I will say, saw some interesting shit, heard some interesting shit. Yep. Quick aside, just because I think it's a funny story, and you know I like laughing, so hopefully you'll laugh. But I was working at Bar Louie, and it was like.
What Bar Louie did you work at?
Novi. So hopefully this doesn't like get anybody in trouble, but it wasn't like Bar Louie. It wasn't Bar Louie's fault. Either way, there was this guy who had definitely been probably overserved. Yeah. And I don't think he was just at Bar Louie. I think he was like just going around. Either way.
I mean, it's Fountain Walk. People bar hop all over there.
Exactly. So it was like 2 or 2:30. I was like mopping, and there was this guy who like came up to the like he got kicked out. We kicked him out, and he came up to the glass and just pulled his pants down and started rubbing his dick on the glass, and like. Part of me was pissed off because I was like, I probably had to clean that. But I was fucking dying. I'm like...
We had a guy we had to cut off last Friday at 4 p.m. We had to cut him off. And he pulled out nunchucks. Nunchucks. I'm not even lying to you.
I'll pay for it.
I swear to God. Because he was like, you're not going to kick me out. And like the bartender was like, yeah, I am. Because like I was getting off my shift and I was having my shift drink. And I told like the bartender was taking over for me. I was like, he's kind of off just so you know. Like I let him know like... Because he, like, walked in, like, wouldn't even look at me, and was like, Grey Goose double. I was like, okay. Like, got it.
That's so weird, dude.
But I don't know. Like, then, like, our manager had to come out and, like, confront him, and, like, the guys were, like, puffing his chest at him and shit, and fucking whipped out some nunchucks.
I kind of low-key respect that. I feel like having nunchucks
on nunchucks.
But that's a power move.
It's insane. Like,
did he like use them?
No, he just whipped him out and like looked down at him. And the manager looked down and he's like, he's like, see that? Literally, I swear to God.
You want to kick me? I can fucking nunchucks. So,
right.
Dude, I actually kind of respect that as a power move. But I did want to save some time, just very briefly. I know you probably deserve more time to talk about it, but
time it was.
It goes by quick, right?
It does.
Fucking told you. But entrepreneurship, because you are a new... we want to call it owner, founder of SeededInDetroit. Well, so I'll let you speak to that.
So co-owner, me and Kelly. So she was my manager. Well, so we started out. She was a bartender. I was a server at Bonnie's, and she ended up becoming my manager. And like when we got back from quarantine and everyone was like back to working and everything. So last May or June or whatever that was. I like told her, I was like, when I moved to Detroit, like I want to get more plants. Like I just want to like, because I had the whole front room, like that is my plant room now. And I was like, I just want to have a whole room of like plants. Like it gets perfect sunlight. It would be perfect, like all that stuff. So she started like telling me little things I should get or like what low maintenance plants I should start with and like little stuff like that. And like I told you before we started this, like it just slowly started building up. And like once you start knowing some of them, then you see one in person and you're like, oh, I know what that is. I can maybe take care of that. And like so we were talking nonstop about like just half-ass even talking. Like how about we want like a nursery or like a plant shop or just something or like our own greenhouses or just whatever. And I got back from Punta Cana when I went in February with my sister and everyone. And we were like, and I was like home and I was thinking about it. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm making an Instagram for us. And she was sleeping too. And I was like, here's the logins for when you wake up. I don't know what this is going to happen, but I just followed a bunch of random people. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. And she was like, awesome. And like, so she woke up, she helped me like get all of it ready. And then like we wanted it to be a lot of plant advice because a lot of people just buy plants and it dies in 2 weeks and you know, exactly. That was me for a while.
Getting better.
But I wanted it to be plant advice, but I also want to sell plants. And I would love to have somewhere like Plant House, like how we were just talking about that. And it just has a more local feel to it. But we were talking about like even how nice would it be to have a plant shop in Corktown.
Yeah.
Like a SeededInDetroit plant shop. Like just a little corner one. Like it would be so cute. And like it would be perfect for that because Corktown and Midtown are up and coming right now with all young people. And I don't know. So for right now, the main plan is just like we want to do like consulting or advice or whatever. I was looking into like personal shopping for people for plants.
Okay, like if I wanted certain something.
Yeah, like you can tell me like what kind of light you get in your house and like I can determine what plants will work in your house. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people will buy a plant not knowing it needs full sun and then it dies in a week or like whatever. And like they are fucking bitches. Like plants are like I don't know how they survive in the wild because we do one thing wrong one day and then it just withers.
Dude, no shit. But they make me feel so incompetent. Plants do. Oh my
god, no. There's plants where I bought like I know you're gonna die. Like I'm not getting attached. Like I know it's gonna happen. And I don't know. It was definitely an easier start for us to start with an Instagram platform like for plant advice because it helped get our following already because we were in plant groups like on Facebook, just like of random people like what's wrong with my plant or like what kind of plant is this or like where should I go for this or like plant trades and like stuff like that people did. And so even from that, like, because they do random days where it's like, oh, share your plant Instagram. And, like, so all these people are just, like, it'll be, like, hundreds of comments. And all these people just follow you. And, like, you follow each other. And it's like a community again. And,
big community girl.
It is. I am a big community girl. I don't know. I like relating to people that have the same interests as me. Because I feel like for a long time, I was, like, searching for validation for things. Like, for trying to be, like, a different person. Or, like, figure out my place in society.
Okay.
But, like, building your own place in society is what that sounds cheesy, but it's what I did.
I like that, and honestly, what you just said could be a whole nother discussion that we have
right.
because that sounds like maybe some shit we could unpack. But no, I think what you're doing is awesome. I had to support it. Got some stickers, pot, the t-shirts. I see you kind of posting there. Depending which one went, well, actually, I'll get one regardless. But you got some cool shit. So
yeah, we have embroidery shirts coming out soon, so we just put deposit on those. So we're waiting for those to come in. Okay. We're going to start selling plants soon. I have a couple at home that are waiting to get sold. And then still going to do the planters like we were. Like I just painted a couple this morning. Other than that, I'm just sticking with the basics for now because we got to make our profit before we can afford anything else.
Dude, trying to start a business, I couldn't even imagine.
Oh my god, so many little things that you don't even...
I kind of know because I tried to kind of start doing it, but it was like half in, half now. But either way, the people want to know. By the people, I mean myself. If you go into selling plants, are you going to dabble in air plants?
Yeah. I love air plants. I just bought a big one, like this big.
I saw it. And I have one.
You can't, oh, is it? No, you just have it. Yep.
Yeah, that thing's fucking... it's just so cool.
No, they're really cool. And, like, they are weird. And they, honestly, they creep me out. Because I'm like, I don't know why. Well, no, it's not even in, like, a gross way. Like, it's just, I'm like, I don't understand how you work. Yeah. And I don't get it. Like, I don't know how you're alive. They're and I was telling you this. I'm like, I don't get it. Yeah. Okay. No, they are. And, like, they could... That one that I just bought is that big. I don't know how long it took to grow that big, but it's insane.
Don't you just like spray it?
So what I do is just get like room temperature water. I try to do purified water.
Okay.
And you can just like put them in the water, let them soak there for a couple minutes. Like just keep turning them, make sure that it gets all wet, and then just take it out, let it dry, and just put it back.
It's so weird that they don't have roots. I heard that they like Voss water.
Yeah. I mean, some people say that, but I mean, I just use purified water for all my plants. So I have like my Pure in my fridge, and I just will fill up my water thing, and I just leave it out so it's not cold anymore.
Okay.
But
they don't like cold water?
Well, cold water can like shock the roots if it's like freezing cold.
What kind of fucking water you got coming out of your faucet? Mine's like not that cold.
No, not my faucet. Like I'm saying my water out of the fridge. Like if I just use the pure like water out of the fridge, then it would be too cold.
Okay.
But also tap water has a lot of bad stuff in it, so that's why they don't recommend using it for your plants.
Okay.
And if they say if you do use it for plants, to leave it out overnight.
Tap water?
Yeah. Because it can help like get some of the shit out of it.
Well,
I can't think of the word, like evaporate.
You've been using tap water, so
some of them don't give a shit. It's like the random hard plants that like they'll die if you use tap water.
Well, they might still die. They're pretty new plants.
No, but still, that's a little thing that I feel like a lot of people don't do, and just like people that actually like research plants do, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't know. That's just what I do. Okay. You don't have to do it. For all my propagating plants, I use tap water.
If you're what?
My propagating plants, like the cuttings that I make.
Oh.
So you take cuttings from a plant, and you put them in water, and they'll like produce new roots. Mm-hmm. I use tap water for those, and I don't have a problem.
Okay. Do you have a Venus flytrap?
No, those are hard.
Do you plan on getting one?
Well, and you have to feed them like actual like
a fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean.
But they have to be constantly moist at all times.
Maybe. So do you have are they?
It's like high humidity and constantly moist. I don't know their sun needs, but like they're insane. If you see one in a store and you like. Just like kind of like touch your finger along the ends of them, it'll close. So
are they naturally found in like rainforests?
I think so.
I won't put you on the spot.
No, I don't know that much about Venus. I don't have the time. Like I don't have the time to like make sure you constantly have water in the tray underneath you. Like I don't.
Who do you give more attention to? Your cats or your plants? Who do you have to give more attention to?
Shit, I mean they're both yelling at me all the time.
Okay.
I mean. My cats are definitely more vocal.
Yeah.
But I wake up right in the morning. My cats are yelling at me for food and water, and then I have to go hurry up and turn on my humidifier and all my stuff for my plants. So it's kind of a routine at this point.
So you just got a whole family that you're
wake up, turn the Keurig on, feed the cats, go turn the grow lights on and the humidifiers on and all of it, and then.
So when you're up, the whole house is up.
Well, I mean, I try to be quiet.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your crafts because I had a friend who was very much into trees and plants and whatnot. So appreciate what you're doing. I think it's cool. Do you want to give a quick plug to any website or blog or Instagram or wherever where people can find it? Because people should support it. It's cool.
Yeah, so it's at SeededInDetroit on Instagram and Facebook. And then it's SeededInDetroit.com as well.
Check it out. Yeah. Are you all sold out of the stuff that was on there?
There's some stickers left. There's a couple planners left, I believed. The shirts and hoodies are sold out, and then there'll be new stuff coming soon, but
not
yet.
Awesome. Well, I like that. Jill, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I can't forget the most important. Well, all of it's important, but I always kind of like to end this with a mental health tip. I almost fucking forgot that. So. If you have a mental health tip, something that you do that kind of helps you achieve good mental health, or if you're having a bad day, if you do this thing, it kind of pulls you back in, what would that be?
Honestly, after quarantine and everything, cancel those fucking plans. Because if every time I've had a doubt if I want to hang out with someone or if I want to just have my me time, like it is so much more important now, like than it ever was in my head at least. Because every time I just want to be alone, like I didn't take advantage of that before. Like, I always was going out with other people and, like, making sure, like, I thought I had to socialize or do stuff on the weekends. And I'm like, now I love when I just stay home on a Saturday night. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I just love being able to, like, whether it's watching a movie or watching fucking 10 episodes of a TV show, I'm like, it's self-care in its own way. Mm-hmm. Because it is important to have that time by yourself. Like, I don't think it's healthy to constantly be with another person. Because even when you are with your significant other, you can have alone time at the same time. Mm-hmm. You can be in the same room and have alone time and just not talk for 2 hours and it's alone time. So have some me time. Mm-hmm. I like that. Always. So, not to take away from your Timbit, because I like that. Mm-hmm. The question off of that, real quick. So if you're having plans with people and like you cancel, have you had any bad reception to that, or has it all been like okay? Most of my people that I've like, I'm very honest about it. I don't lie to people in my life. Like, I don't see the need for that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I will be honest. I'll be like, I'm honestly not feeling it today. Like, I just want to be by myself, like, do whatever. And most people, when you're honest about it, they respect that more. Fuck like, it's more when you're like, sorry, like, I can't hang out anymore. It's like, something came up. Why?
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Like, why? If I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm having a bad mental health day. Your real friends will be like, okay, I get it, of course. Mm-hmm. Your fake friends are going to be the ones pissed at you.
Yeah. No, I like that because it is, if you make a commitment to hang out, sometimes you feel like you have to do it even if you don't want to. So that's a struggle I have. It's like, should I go? And I made the plans.
I struggled with that for a long time. And
it's working for you?
Better, yeah.
Okay, well, it's a good tidbit. It's one that I don't think has been shared yet. I don't think so. Good. Thank you again for coming on.
Yeah.
I do have to do a shameless plug. When you're hearing this, anybody, I believe this is the first day where the MyHood hoodies are going to be out. All of the proceeds go to children's mental health. The Detroit Children's Foundation is helping me put this on. So, again, they're available now at whatsyourhood.com, or I'll post lots of links and whatnot. But sorry to make you sit here while I say this. Good. Have to promote it because the Children's Foundation and I are trying to raise as much money as we can because they're using it for research and all these things for kids and their mental health, because I think mental health is important for everybody, but if we can get people educated beforehand, I think that can do wonders, because oftentimes once people are educated on mental health, it could be too late, or they don't know how to handle it when someone else they know is going through it. So just want to put that out there. If you're hearing this now, seeing this now, and you think it's cool, check it out. We got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, whatever. But anyway, thank you again.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to be an episode, I suck at this. If you want to be a guest on this podcast and have your own episode like Jill did, text me, call me. TIMM podcast is my Instagram, my Facebook. I need to get somebody who just does my fucking sign-offs because I'm terrible at it. Until next week.
You said record one or something.
Record one? Okay, now you're calling me on my shit. So either disregard everything I just said or don't disregard it. If you want to be on the guest, if you want to be on the podcast as a guest, just let me know somehow. All right. Thank you. Sign off until next week. Goodbye. God.